What is going on, guys? You know what it is. It's your boy Turtle the Ascended, and it's finally time to remake the tier list. As always, like, comment, and subscribe, turn your post notifications on, and let's get into it. Alright, so we're remaking the Tekken tier list. I don't think you can properly see all the way how many tiers I have, but at the top we have top 5, S plus, S from right here. I don't know if you can see the mouse or not, but from S it says ordered here and up. Oh, I misspelled that. Let me fix that. There we go. I'm not done, I promise. So ordered here and up, but down here we got bottom, D, C, B, A plus, S plus, top 5. Okay? Very simple. Let's get started. I'm going to try to go through this as swiftly as possible, but also I want to take the time to explain a little bit further in detail about why I have where certain characters wear. First and foremost, let's talk about my scale or my criteria. Right, I always have to have a criteria so that you can completely understand why I put certain characters where I have them, or my thought process. So I'm going by 5 metrics. So we're doing, first of all, tourney usage. If the character is being played a lot in tournaments, there's a reason. That character must be pretty good by some merit, right? And I mean like played often, like as a main, not like as a secondary, as a main. Like that's your first priority character, right? Even secondaries count. I mean, they do count for something. Like if everybody has a pocket fang, hint hint, then that character must be pretty dang strong, you know, for a reason. They switch to fang and then all of a sudden just do better. You know what I'm saying? So turning usage is very important. Offense is important, like how good the character is at playing the aggression side of things, at being proactive, just forcing the agenda that they want to do, forcing their will over everybody else. The third one is defense. Obviously, how well can you defend? Like good panic options is one thing. Good keep options is another thing. I think a lot of characters that are really, really up there have good aggressive and defensive options. So that's going to be a big thing. Neutral is going to be the 4th thing. How good are you? Like that's going to encompass everything else, right? How easy is it for you to get in? How easy is it for you to get out? Is your movement good? Can you use movement to access both offense and defense? That's a really big thing. Like, right, characters like Zafina or Alisa are very slippery. So those type of characters will be rated pretty well in this list. And then last but not least, consistency. So consistency is gonna, in and of itself, has a few factors, like ease of use, right, is really, really big. And my definition of difficulty is not going to be the same as yours. I'm going to say it again. My definition of difficulty is not going to be the same as yours. So you have to chill, right? It's my opinion, right? And this is off the basis of being able to do most, if not all, of the hardest combos in the game, right? Like I can do multiple QCF ones. I can do obviously the Akuma combos, quadruple electric, Omen Godfist. I've hit down 4-2 electric a few times, taunt jet upper a few times. You know, I've used them in matches before. I can do all of these combos at the point. So I have an idea of which ones are actually the hardest and the ones that are actually necessary too. Right? That's really important. If it's not necessary for me to use that, then it doesn't matter, right? Down 4-2 electric is good. It's very strong. But does Kazuya actually need to use it? No, not really. So that's a big deal because the easier character is traditionally the more consistent they're going to be because there's less of a chance of you messing up your stuff or dropping like a game-win combo and things like that. Okay? But that's pretty much how my stuff goes, right? This is how it's going to be. It's actually not that hard of a criteria to understand. So I'm going to go through it, make it in front of y'all. Let's go. So let's start at the bottom of the barrel. Y'all all know who I'm going to put here. I feel like you all knew who I'm going to put here. All right? Bears. They are the lone D tier character. They are not strong, right? It's important to note that everybody on this list can win, but for different factors, right? They're not terrible, right? It's just that they're only good quality is poking. And there are so many other characters you can pick that can poke just as good, if not better. Their stance is mad weak. The only advantage you have picking bears is to like counterpick Mishimas, to be honest, because their legs stand so far back that it's harder to hit them with like Hell Sweet Mix. But pretty much the only thing they've got is poking, and there's better characters. They're big, so even though they can get away with certain things, if your opponent doesn't know the certain combos, it's basically just if you know what they can do, you'll beat them every time. They're not very threatening characters at all. But you still have to be aware of the poking. The poking is pretty okay. So, look at this. Next, in C tier, I'm going to put Gigas and Lucky Chloe. I think I'm going to just do those two. Yeah, Gigas and Lucky Chloe. Okay. I don't actually think Fahkumram is here. I don't think he's that trash. Okay. I don't think he's that trash. I think he's been gutted quite a bit, but I don't think he's absolute complete garbage. Okay. But Lucky Chloe and Gigas are pretty weak characters by comparison. Now Gigas can do a lot of damage, and he can catch a lot of people off guard. He caught me off guard the other day. I fought a Gigas, and it was really interesting because I didn't know what he was doing. I didn't know his moves or anything like that, so he caught me with a few things. And he has great reach. He actually has some pretty substantial reach and some pretty safe moves to throw out that hit from like range 2, range 3. So he's not like awful. Like, he can win. Like, there's obviously people who play him, but 9 times out of 10, if they play against somebody and they realize, like, oh, you know the matchup, they switch off to whoever, right? They switch off. I've seen one switch off to Lars, and then one switch off to Marduk, right? The objectively better version of this character. So, Lucky Chloe is another one of those characters. It's like, if you know the matchup, you beat her. It's literally that simple. If you know the matchup, you beat her. You realize how unsafe this character really is and how much you can punish her. Her neutral is not good. The only thing she really has going for her is her damage, which is substantial. And you can party time mix people. It's just, it gets blocked. You die. So that's Lucky Chloe in a nutshell, honestly. B tier. Let's see who I want to put here. I had made a tier list before, but I decided I was going to change it up and do it here. So I think I want to put Lars in here. I'll do these piece by piece. I'll put Lars here. Lars is interesting. Lars does quite a bit of damage, and can be pretty elusive. But Tekken 7 has been nothing but hurtful to him. He was a lot better with the bound system. He did a lot more damage. He had a lot more consistency. The moves that he has now, that are like power crushes and wall pushes and all the tricky mechanics now that's in Tekken 7, all of his variants of the moves just aren't that good. Like, you can't really make use of Tekken 7's unique systems, so that hurts him a lot. He's just really bad with the game. Right, he's a character that was 100% built for Tekken 6, which is why he was so strong in that game in Tag 2. But this game, he's not built for it. He's just not built for it. Can he still work? Yes, definitely. Yeah, I've seen some Lars players do some pretty good work. He still has good whiff punishment. Actually, very good whiff punishment. Like, his moves don't reach that far, but they're quick and to strike back, right? his movement is pretty okay. He's good at getting in on people. His offense is really good, but where he struggles is like his defensive aspect. He's a character that basically you show even a smidge of patience and you beat him almost every single time. So he's the game's just not kind to him. It's the best thing I can tell you. The game itself is not kind to him. I think I'm going to also put Xiaoyu here. Xiaoyu has been inherently nerfed by that change that was supposed to nerf Akuma's wall stuff, but it just hurt a lot of other characters and killed their stuff as well. Xiaoyu has lost a lot over the course of this game. She's lost a lot of damage, she's lost a lot of MIGs, she's lost a lot of evasiveness. She can still do all those things, but it's a lot harder to get away with. She's kind of, and she's one of those I'm trying to catch you off guard because I don't think you know the matchup characters, but she's not there. She's really just not there. She doesn't have the damage, and she has to open you up so many times, and her evasiveness is not as good as the other characters that have the same type of properties. So she's fallen pretty hard from Grace IMO to the point where the only time you'll lose to Xiaoyu is again if you just don't know what she's doing. But you can learn the matchup even a little bit. Again, she's dog water. I'm going to next put Lei. Now, I could be underselling this character just a bit, but he's just not that good. He's not consistent enough. His consistency is really bad, and his ease of use is pretty low. Like, this character takes a lot of work to play. Like, a lot of work. To the point where it's like, if you're a Lei player, you only play Lei, which cuts you off from a lot of other characters. Can you make stuff work? Yes, absolutely. You can play patient with this character, but 9 times out of 10, you're trying to gimmick your opponent out. It doesn't really feel like you can play fundamental Tekken with this character, right? It feels like you have to cheese. Now you can do good with punishment and things like that, but most of the time to really enforce what Lei wants to do as a mix-up based character with all these stances, you really have to gimmick your opponent and trick them into doing something that they don't know they can do anything about. Most of the time that I see Lei win is because it seems like nobody really knows what he's doing. And again, this is a knowledge check character, right? These knowledge check, you're gonna see it in a lot of these knowledge check characters down here. That's what I'm saying. And speaking of knowledge check, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of backlash for this one, and I put Anna down here because most of the people that I've seen that play Anna in tournament, if they lose with Anna, they switch off. Anna is so unsafe. This character is mad unsafe. One of her best lows, I think it's down forward 3. I haven't played her in a while. It's like she kind of does a quick little turn and hits your leg. That's minus 15. That's minus 15. And that's one of her most reliable lows to actually hit the opponent. Her crouch mix is unsafe, right? She is unsafe in almost every sense. She has a decent throw game, and she does a lot of damage, but she's so unsafe. You are risking your life with every move that you do, which is why so many people, they can roll you with her, but if you're looking for her moves, she gets rolled, right? It's not like she can't catch you off guard. Obviously she can catch you off guard or people wouldn't play her, and because she has a lot of damage, she only needs a few openings. But the problem is you also only need a few openings if you're playing against her. So her consistency is super low, is where that is. Her consistency is super low. Her defense is super low. She has some okay stuff. Her neutral is not great, but it's alright. But in most, if not all aspects, she's not a very strong character overall. But she can definitely catch people off guard, for sure. In that same sense, Noctis. Noctis is a pure knowledge check. You just have to know what he does. You just have to know which way you're supposed to sidestep all his aura, right? All the aura moves. I think it's down back 12, which is the big The big swing, big sword moves, like they're all easily steppable. You just got to make sure you're stepping or side walking properly. So it's literally, if you move well in Tekken, you will beat this character the large majority of the time. But it is worth noting, Noctis is one of the best characters in the game at fighting meter characters. So take that note, think about that. I will say that. Here, in this tier, I will place Fahkumram. Fahkumram is considerably worse. He is madly unsafe, and a lot of these lows that he used to be far enough away to not take the punish, now he can take the punish. So he's got his arms, his leg cut off, his movement, everything. This character's been nerfed every single patch that he's been out. So he's actually fallen pretty hard. A lot of his best stuff has been nerfed. He still has wall setups to make you block, get hit, and then get wall crushed and smacked around and whatever. He can still be BS. He can still be very BS. He can still mix you, but all that stuff he's in the same boat as like Anna. He still does a bunch of damage also, right? He's in the same boat as most of the characters in this tier. Next, I'm actually going to put Josie here. I think Josie, the problem with Josie, right, is that she's so linear, right? I've seen so many people play with this character. Don't let me lie. No, I haven't. I've seen like Pokechop play with this character, and most of the time, their neutral consists of throwing homing moves pretty much the entire time, which shows you just how linear this character is. So if you have even half a brain to move around, this character gets squashed in every single way. Like, this character's not very strong. Now, if you get caught standing still, oh, she'll string you up, right? With it. And don't even mention Butterfly Edge, which is an annoying move to deal with if you can't move. But again, it's a lot of not being able to move that gets you with this character. So start moving around, bam, you'll just learn how to beat Josie. You don't even really know what she does. Just step around properly and you're good. But she can still get people. She still does a pretty good amount of damage, actually. She hurts. And if she gets you to a point where she can lock you up and start stringing you up, then she can be a hard nuisance. But again, she's pretty much the same boat as the rest of the characters in B tier. They all have that inherent flaw, in my opinion. Let's move on to A tier, actually. I think that's all I want in there. A tier, I'm gonna put Eddy. I think in the first draft tier list, I put Eddy in B. I think Eddy has enough tourney presence to prove that he's an A tier character, or maybe higher. You know, I think one of the strengths of Eddy is he can do all of that stuff that like Lei, Xiaoyu can do, but his neutral is good. I think his neutral is a lot better. I think he has great moves to poke with, great moves to aggress with. He can play a more traditional game of Tekken and still be a scumbag, right? You can still scum people out. So he has the best of those worlds. I think he's pretty good at it. There's a few of his weaknesses that he's still slowish. He's a little bit on the slow side, so some of his stuff takes a bit of wind up. And if you're not giving up too much, right? Don't give him the space to do what he wants to do. You have to stay on him, really, and just pay attention to when he goes into, like, relax and stuff like that. But I think Eddy's really solid, right? He has some pretty cheesy stuff, but he has reliable, fundamental Tekken tools that he can rely on now. And I think they've done a great job buffing this character throughout the patches that they have. And props to John Ding. And there was a guy at the Invitational, I can't remember his name, that fought against Arslan. That was pretty good too. And there's quite a few Eddy players, and I see y'all. Y'all are putting in work with this character. This character is actually pretty good now. So you can play a legit Eddy, you can play scumbag Eddy. It's up to you, right? Okay. I admit I overrated this character quite a bit. Lily's problem is that she's just slow. Like, her moves are just slow. For somebody who has one of, if not the best sidesteps in the game, tied with Katarina, I believe, and Zafina. Man, she just hits so slow. Her mix is dang near reactable. She's just not that threatening, you know? Like, the character is good. The character does a lot of damage, and you can play very safe and compact with her. It's just, she feels like Bryan. I'll put you like that. After messing around, she feels like a less fundamental Bryan. But I think she's a little bit better at keeping pressure, right? And her damage is higher. Her damage is definitely higher. But you have to take a lot of risk to really make Lili what she wants to be, which is a super high damage, just stop pressing buttons type monster, right? But once you start doing that, it becomes significantly harder for the Lili. It's really hard for her to crack open turtles. So I think next here I'm going to put... I kind of want to move some of these characters, because I had them in my head to be here, but I kind of want to move some of them. Some people are going to be mad at this. I'm going to put Drag here. Okay? So at high level, Drag is really good. But at every other level, Drag is super mediocre. Like, he's super mediocre. Okay? Now, one thing about Drag can play the entire game with 2 moves. Right? Running 2, down 2. If you're trying to step too much, down 2. If you're standing up a lot, down 2. Oh, you want to start ducking, down 2, running 2. Right? That's his game plan. That's it. That's his main game plan. I mean, he has some other stuff, but generally that's all you're looking for, right? So because of that, he doesn't. I mean, he has an okay throw game. He has mixed throws that he can get the opponent with. You need to get up, but he's pretty I mean, he gets points for being simple, but I think it takes too much work to rely on just 2 moves. Like, you don't have any type of variety, right? And everybody knows, oh, I'm up against Drag. What's my 13 frame while standing punish? So most people are ready for you. So you have to just be fundamentally solid to play him, and he's not really dirty, right? Everybody knows how to stop his dirt at this point. He can catch people that don't know, again, off guard, but when they do know, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. So for that same reason, I put Armor King. Armor King is not a dirt-based character, right? He can be sort of cheesy with his throws, command throws, and things like that, but he's extremely fundamental. Most of the time, you're going to be trying to poke people down, set them up for throws, right? You have to play really... He's, again, another character you have to play really solid with. And it just so happens that these are both JDCR's characters, because he has very strong fundamentals, and that's why he's able to beat people with these 2 characters, right? Because he can play so solid fundamentally, he can create these openings that most, if not no other player, is capable of doing with characters of this caliber. So, like, super fundamental, great at poking, but there's better poke characters and better characters that have more damage and more range and yada yada, etc., you know. It's that same song and dance that you've heard all before. Yoshimitsu at max potential, I think, is an S+ character. But in light of how difficult he is to play, he has everything else, right? I'd say his neutral's weak, but his offense is great, his defense is great, his consistency is really low, and obviously there's like 2 people at all that play this character well. And one I haven't seen in a long time. My musician, shout outs. But I think this character at max potential is definitely an S+. He has everything, right? Flash is a super annoying tool to deal with. It's just having to get into your head automatically all the transitions to stances, right? I'm gonna do this poke. Oh, he's gonna do this low. I'm gonna do this tricky thing where I go into helicopter and smack him. And then I'm gonna go and do this drill combo, go into helicopter again, hit him with an unblockable sword move, mix him with leg sweep. Oh, he's ready to block the leg sweep, unblockable sword combo. Like, you have to have so much mental power to play this character and consciously or unconsciously switch your stances just rapidly and just keep going so that you can bust down and open up whoever you want, right? Like, a good Yoshimitsu, you're not defending against. It's just not happening. He will open you up every time. But it takes so much. Like, it's more on the player than it is, like, the player who's using Yoshimitsu than it is anything else, right? You will lose to playing this character. So, and is that it here? Yeah, I think that's it here. Let's move to A+. A+ is going to be pretty big. Let's start with DLC. Lidia. Lidia is really good. Next character. Okay. She's strong. She's gotten nerfed a bunch. She's lost some of her best stuff, some of her plus frames. They've made it easier to hit her high stuff, which is one of her strong points. They nerfed her rage drive. They nerfed a bunch of stuff about her, but she still does have great damage. She still plays a pretty strong, aggressive game. She still has some pretty slick moves that she can use to press you with. It's just that her inherent lack of super strong lows, like, she doesn't really have any good lows. She has that one tricky hell sweep, but that's about it. But she has to be like mad close. She has to be super mad close to use it properly. But generally, this character she's like, I would say she's a slightly weaker drag, but Lydia's neutral is a lot better than drag's, in my opinion. I think her neutral's way better. She gets in really easily. Her defense is really good, so in those aspects she's much better. I think drag would be a little bit more consistent, but Lydia's still a force to be reckoned with. In the right hand, she will still dominate somebody. I'm gonna put Bryan here, actually. I think Bryan, if we were talking strictly like high level, like tournament level play, Bryan would be an S+ tier character. But playing everywhere else, you're playing against people that love to swing, right? Now you say, oh, well, that's perfect for Bryan because he has a lot of good counter hit stuff. However, if people just block you and then you get in Bryan's face, right? He's so linear and most of his best tracking moves need some space. Like, he's good at controlling the mid-range, but close range, he's lacking. He has no real get-off-me tools. His defense is terrible, to be honest. But his offense is good, his neutral is good, but he's so slow and he's difficult, right? There's been any amount of times I've seen really good Bryan players like, what's his name? He's a Pakistan Bryan. He's really good. And I've seen Jimmy J, I've seen Nee all mess up really, really, really choice opportunities to just wreck somebody's life because they didn't hit the taunt. And for Bryan, taunt is necessary. Not specifically taunt it upper, but being able to follow up the taunt, period, is 100% necessary for this character because it's part of what makes people stop being turtles. That's 9 times out of 10. That's how you're opening people up, right? You get a counter hit knockdown, not counter hit, but you get like a knockdown with 3+4. You pull up, taunt, guaranteed, whatever, or taunt jet upper, right? Which allows you to steal rounds. Like, it's a super powerful tool, but it's very difficult to use consistently. So he can be very strong, but I would say he's almost exclusively a super high level character. Following him, I'm going to put Nina up here. I think she's a lot better than her sister. She's a lot quicker. Her neutral's a lot stronger. Her offense is a lot better, more concise, more consistent. I think her defense is a little bit better. I don't think it's that much better. I think it's a lot better. She has an okay parry that can be chickened, but who really chickens like that? I mean, nobody really uses the parries like that. Her whiff punish game is nice. Her whiff punish game is very nice. Her damage has gotten quite a bit better. Her wall carry has always been good, still is. She just requires a lot of difficulty, so it's really hard to be consistent with her. Even the few people that play her, I see them finding it kind of difficult. I think it's Victim of Ritual. That is the Nina player in America. That's pretty good. I enjoy watching that Nina. And she has a good mix too. She has a great mix actually. It's just her damage is good, but not high. And the consistency again is an issue. Also, there's not really a whole lot of Nina play. There's a few Ninas, like maybe a couple Ninas, and even then, they don't play Nina like that no more, right? Like, Arslan apparently used to be a Nina main. I've never seen him play the character in tournament. I think he's played her once. So obviously, she's not worth picking over his other characters, so. Next, I'm going to put Leo. Leo's had a lot of buffs. Leo's very strong, but good neutral, okay offense, okay defense. I think Leo is just a middle character. Does a lot of things well, doesn't really do any things too exceptionally well. Can steal games from you. Down forward 2 is really good now. After those buffs, the follow-up damages is pretty good, but Leo's not really tricky or anything. It's a stance character you really have to play kind of honest with, honestly. Like, honest well, but it's a stance character you have to play pretty concisely with. So you're not really cheap, right? If people know the matchup, especially. So let's go Hwoarang, I think. Hwoarang is A+. Hwoarang's a very slick character. This is the king of aggression, right? He's just kicking at you, mixing at you, or faking, right? He's the king of proactiveness, right? Keeping you on your toes. He can definitely steal rounds from people. If you're blocking wrong, if he's paying attention, he structures his offense right, he opens you up. Where he struggles is that I feel his defense is weak. I believe his defense is kind of weak. He has good options on defense, but from observation of how I've seen a lot of Hwoarang's play, the defense is not like there in comparison to some of the rest of the characters. So I would say he's weak to step. He's weak to be stepped for sure. So good movement shuts him down, good poking shuts him down. Just keeping him away from his preferred ranges is really good against him. Just good space, solid spacing is really good against him. I'm gonna put Eliza here. Now Eliza's pretty good, and she could have potentially be put in S tier, but in order to be an S tier character, you need the execution. And I mean, like, you need to be able to do counter hit 4 into 5 dive kicks, right? Counter hit 4, dive kick, instant dive kick, instant dive kick, instant dive kick, and she's at her absolute best with walls. And I believe without walls, she becomes a substantially weaker character. I think without walls, she's actually like a B tier character. With walls, she's an A+. And that's just how I feel about that. Like, obviously being a meter character, she can make comebacks, but she doesn't do it as well as Geese or Akuma does, so. King of Scrubs. I will never stop hating this character. This is the absolute scrubbiest character in Tekken. This dude has ambiguous throw mix. He can mix Shining Wizard with Giant Swing. Both have the animation like he's going for a 12 break. So you go hit 12 and you're getting giant swing. You could hit 1 and you're getting Shining Wizard. If King can do it well, you're basically getting thrown regardless. All his throws are really strong. He has good range with those throws. The throws do the damage of like combos. And then on top of that, he has really, honestly, fantastic mids that can put you in a situation where he can throw you. He has good range in some of his moves. He has a good tracking move. 4-4-1, I think, is actually a pretty good tracking move. I think he does quite a bit of damage. He can set people up with a lot of cheeky traps that lead to, like, I think it's Burning Knuckle. Great offensive pressure, really, because he has access to the throws, so it's really hard to defend against him. His weak points are that he is an extremely linear character, so a lot of his stuff can be stepped, but he's not a character that can really force it. You still have to pay attention because he could just grab you out of something out of nowhere. So he's a very good character. To me, he's very scrubby because of his grabs are so good. I'm gonna put Ganryu here now. Ganryu is basically a bear. He's a bear that has launchers in his stuff, right? So his character unfamiliarity is so high that you will win against people just because they don't know what Ganryu is doing. But Ganryu is honestly a pretty underwhelming character, but he's like glue. He's really, really sticky. Once he starts poking you, it's extremely hard to get away, right? You get hit with that low, okay? Down 4-1, bink, 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 bink. He's just poking you with all these solid pokes, but he's not really doing a billion damage to you or anything. He's not creating like these incredible whiff opportunities or these incredible counter hit combos, right? And not having a 10 frame jab is also pretty detrimental. So it's really hard for him to just get his offense started. But his poke game is really good. So it usually doesn't matter that much. But I think it's a solid balance. Who else do I want to put here? Let's put Miguel here. I'm not going to put Miguel on there yet. I think he's actually S tier now. Let's put Master Raven. I think her gimmicks are really nice, and she does a lot of damage. Her offense is good, her defense lacking, has some pretty strong throws. She just doesn't play traditionally strong enough. Like, again, it feels like she relies too much on the cheese aspect or the gimmicky aspect, so she struggles a bit, but she has some tools that allow her to play fundamentally, so she doesn't have to go for the gimmicks all the time, right, to throw you off her rhythm, but generally quite gimmicky in that regard. I think next I want to put Oscar. Does a lot of damage, great spacing, parry, hop kick. I'm not gonna put her in an S tier, I don't think, because she lacks tourney presence, but she checks a lot of the other boxes. I don't know. I think I want to leave her A+, but she could definitely be an S tier. I just think her slothfulness as a character, she's just not really that quick, so she has to have some room. She's good at controlling the mid range. She's kind of like Bryan. She has to have some room to do what she wants to do. And last but not least, actually not last but not least, there's a few more characters that I've skipped over. Let's put Leroy here. Leroy has also been nerfed a bunch, but he's still a pretty good character. I don't think he's broken. I think he's the way he should have been when he first dropped. It's very solid, very strong. Good defense, good offense. He's just not, you know what he's doing now. So he would ordinarily, before the last change he got, I would have had him S, but I think now he's an A+ tier character. A+ is not bad. A+ is still very strong, right? He's still a very solid character, fights a lot of people really well. Good character against Akuma. I think he's an okay character against Fang. So, not bad. Shoot, why not? We putting Negan in A+, baby. Negan is actually really good. Negan kind of plays like a better drag, honestly. His pressure is really good. Once he gets started, you're scared to hit anything because he counter hits you for 1 billion damage. He has an armored launcher. He hits you with the not cool, like rage inducing. And like I say, he does 1 billion damage. His poke game is really good. I don't know why his poke game is so good. And then, like I said, his pressure, oppression is really solid. The only areas he lacks, I think his neutral is a bit whack. Even with that bat, his neutral seems to be kind of like WTF. So I'm gonna also put Lee here. I'm gonna put Lee here. No, I'm not. I'm gonna leave that to be the A+ tier, actually. Nah, I'm gonna put Katarina here. I was gonna put Katarina S tier, but it's really just because she's so easy. She's super duper easy, does a lot of damage, has good neutral, has good offense. Now her defense is a bit whack, and she is pretty slothful. You can see a lot of what she's doing. If she was faster, if they're pacing, she would be in S tier, I think. So, but I'm gonna leave it at that this time. Now for the fun stuff. S tier. At the very back, Kazuya Kuribada. Kazuya is very powerful. Okay, I will not let anybody tell me Kazuya is not as strong AF character. Character's actually too dang strong in my opinion. Everything that was difficult about him in previous Tekken games is now easy. Right? I remember in Tag 2 when I was trying to do combos, if I tried to go for like double electric and drop the second electric, the combo wouldn't work. But now, doesn't matter. Like triple electric, triple wind god fist, why not? It still works. Quadruple electric, quadruple wind god fist, why not? It still works. Like, he's so much more lenient in what you can mess up and continue. Like, if you go for a down 4-2 electric in, I think, any other game, the combos just drop. You go for down 2 electric in this game, you can still follow up. Doesn't matter. So I think he's a lot easier. He does 1 billion damage, whether you land electrics or not. 50-50 mix is still super solid, still super strong, unseeable with Hell Sweep. Pretty strong lows. His weakness is still mids, but he has that mid, and I think while standing 12 is what it is. The little whoosh, which is pretty good. So he's been outfitted with a very nice kit in this game. I think he's pretty strong. Definitely a contender. I think right in front of him, we're going to put Bobby Ganoush. Bob, I think, is a very slept-on character. Rukang does well with him, and Ulsan does well with him. He has the movement with Mishima style, like wave dash, and he has good range. He can approach really easily. He's a very strong character. I think his only problem is that he's big, and he doesn't have the movement he once had in like Tekken 6, where he was just godlike for no reason, even though he was such a big character. I'm gonna put Jack up here. I think a lot of people probably would put Jack maybe A+. Jack is so simple has so much range, can bully people from so far away, and is so dang consistent. So by my metrics, he belongs in S tier. And I think he belongs about right here. Right? Because he can just keep those type of characters out and they can never reach him. Right? Bob can reach him, but most characters can never touch him. I'll actually put him at the bottom of S tier. I'll put him as the gatekeeper. Because I do think these two would be able to reach him simply because crouch dash in the arsenal, so they can close the gap really fast and have pretty decent moves to play buttons with them. I think I want to put Miguel next. I might just go ahead and throw a bunch of characters here that I think are S tier. Let's put you here. Let's put you in here. 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 Is that it? Yeah, okay. Okay. So now I'll organize it a little bit. I'll put Jack, then Kazumi. Kazumi, pretty much the same reason as Jack. Super mad consistent. Mishima punish. Very good at poking. Very good at forcing people to respect you. She's really good at shutting down gimmicks. She's a gimmick killer, right? If you're just relying on pure gimmicks, she will shut you down every time. She has that ability, which is really great. I think I would put Lee next. I think Lee's consistency is lower than a lot of these other characters. So think about Lee. He's very difficult and he can be messed up and he takes a lot of risk, but he has great keep out. Arguably the best keep out. Such great defense, has great offense. His neutral is phenomenal. So I think he's a very strong character. He just lacks a bit of consistency. I'm actually put. Oh, I'll keep him here. I'll put Claudio here. But Claudio, easy as heck, really strong, great spacing. His potential weakness, I guess, is he doesn't have very super strong lows. He has some pretty good lows, but they're not like drop dead. Oh, I have to watch out for it, right? You can see most of them. But he's very strong in hands of a lot of people. Tetsu, Shadow, Yoplex. Like, he's so simple and has great actually has some pretty good poking in general, but he takes a risk when he goes for some of his better stuff. So Shaheen is a little bit better. Kazuya should be right here. Shaheen's a little bit better. He's like the most good, boring character in the game, right? He has all the basics. He has all the basics, right? He has a magic 4, actually a 4-1, really good down forward 1. Like, if you wanted to explore what it means to have great Tekken based tools that most other characters have, you would be playing Shaheen. Very, very strong, and he's a law style character like Lee. Very strong, very easy to mix with as well. So he's just a really solid character. I'm gonna put Heihachi back here. Heihachi is an S tier character because he does a billion damage. His mids are all very dangerous, and I think that jab buff means a lot more than people think. I think that jab buff is honestly ridiculous. I'm actually gonna put him behind Jack. But yeah, but his poking is a little off because he can only really mix with like Hell Sweep, but he hurts. right? And he can keep you up. Just that super long jab he's got now. It's ridiculous. I'm gonna put Bob in front of you. I think this is right. I'll put Miguel here and then Paul. Miguel has really strong pokes. Getting hit by Miguel with just a regular poke that's not even counter hit feels like you've slammed your hand in the car door, right? Like it hurts. Like he's just super disrespectful, keeps plus frames a lot of the time, does some pretty good damage. His combos could use more damage, but he himself does a lot of damage, right? And that's why Paul's ahead of him. Paul does more or less the same thing. The only difference is Paul's keep out is better. Paul's overall damage is better. His consistency is higher. His spacing is better. And his comeback factor is amazing, right? He has arguably a better comeback. He arguably has the best comeback factor in the game with the way his rage art works. So, and then we're up to S+. We're going to start at the back with Young Devil Jin. He's had some changes. Still very strong. I don't really need to even explain why this character is strong. Unseeable Hell Sweep combo. Electric. Laser Scraper. Up forward 4 is still a good tool to use. Up forward the fly is really good at crushing people. Down back 2. He just has a plethora of tools, and you can just pick and choose your play style and which one you like to use with this character. He's super good. Let's go Alisa. Alisa is one of the most slept on strong characters in the game, I think. I think so few people play her until like Chanel started doing better with her. There was a Pakistani player that actually smacked up Arslan, which is pretty impressive. Kadokura does really well with this character. Queen with the chainsaws. Chainsaws are really good. The character's actually pretty nuts. Great movement. Only thing that sucks is that she lacks comeback power. Like if you're winning and you're on the defense, you can kind of see what she's doing. We're gonna go Marduk. Big damage man. Like I don't. There's nothing much to say. He kills you in 2 hits. His spacing is great. You can play compact with him. Tackle is super annoying. You actually have to like change the timing of how you break it because he does too much. You explode getting hit by this character. I'm gonna go Mr. Howard. Over here. Geese is actually still a lot stronger than I expected him to be. Very potent character, very strong, great fundamentals, and then meter to accent them, and then great parries and great neutral. Like I said, great comeback factor. Come on now, Geese he's a super powerful character. Obviously, all the Geese players are still playing him, even though they said he was trash. So. Still a broken character, low-key. No matter how much you nerf this character, he will not stand for it. Let's see. Steve is still a very powerful character, right? King of counter hits. I think is a little worse than Geese, but his speed is so good, right? The point of playing Steve is to take advantage of playing that slow game and then sneaking in back 1 for a counter hit, or sneaking in down 4-2 for a counter hit, right? You're just sneaking in there, abusing the neutral, right? To cut people off on their pressure, on their timing. So he has the speed to just interrupt everybody. And it makes him really strong. And I definitely think he's still worthy of being an S+, at least an S+ tier character. Then I'm gonna put Law. Law is mad versatile, man. Law has had a lot of tourney presence lately. These Laws have been out here being real freaking annoying. This character does not have a weakness. I would say he does not have a weakness. By crouching, he has now forced you to guess what he's about to do. If he's about to slide, launch you. Great defense in the interrupt, the parry, great armor moves. Got his rage drive buff to do some nonsense. Good damage as long as you can use DSS well. DSS in and of itself from while standing 4 is freaking phenomenal. 3+4 super easy mode with punish. Like, he's just good, man. Generic down forward 2 launch, he's just good, man. It's not hard to win with this character or just play this character in general. And last but not least, Zafina. Listen, guys, Zafina to me is not top 5. Most of the time I see Zafina win, it's because of lack of knowledge. And it's really just because of the way the character is designed, right? Because a lot of the stuff that Zafina does, she doesn't look like she's going for it. I think the only thing that really keeps her out of top 5 is her lack of damage. She doesn't really do any damage. She has big damage combos, but they're very conditional. And I think because she doesn't have that damage, it keeps her outside of being one of those special top 5. So, top 5. Let's go Mr. Jin Kazama, number 5. Jin, he's another character that doesn't have a weakness. Moves well, electrics, tool for every situation, parry that basically turns whatever his opponent threw into a whiff. It's easier, honestly, to say what he doesn't have. He's an all-around character that can play ultra safe, do a lot of good pressure, great counter hits, great spacing, great offense, great defense, phenomenal neutral. He's just a fantastic character all around. And there's a lot of players, Atif Butt, what's his name? Speed Kicks, Avery beat Arslan actually. There's so many more that I can't name. Book, CBM. Like, there's a reason all these guys play this character. This character is super ridiculous, man. Next, a character that I have slept on, Kunimitsu. I actually believe Kunimitsu is a top 5 character. I think this is the character people should be worried about instead of Zafina. The difference between those two characters is, number one, Kunimitsu's movement is, I wouldn't say it's a lot better, but it's faster, right? Kunimitsu can more readily punish you from whack positions from across the screen, right? You're doing something stupid, kunai, right? And a lot of people are starting to play this character again, right? You get kunai from across the stage for moving wrong or trying to approach. You get hit with a hop knee. You get hit with these staggered, annoying strings that are really good. You get hit by these lows, these tricky setups that allow you to get 2-hit comboed, super good whiff punishment, great get off me options. Like, the character is ridiculous. The character's mad ridiculous. And her damage is really high for some reason. The character has never had high damage historically, but now all of a sudden she has damage. So stupid. So, number 3, Julia. Julia is broken. I've played so many Julias recently, and obviously John Ding, Rangchu, a few other Julias doing really well. Character hasn't changed. Like, she got nerfed a little bit, but she still has a lot of the follow-ups. The follow-ups are sometimes like frame tight that get you even more reward. And it's just the difference between going for whatever combo and doing a billion damage to optimizing your combo and still doing a billion damage. Has the, I will say, she has the best neutral in the game. Her neutral plays itself. So if you can't get in with this character, you're trash. Okay? If you can't get in with this character, you're trash. Obscenely powerful. The character has great defense, has a magic 4 for whatever reason, has so much trickery with the down 4-1 to guaranteed follow-up, and character's just dumb, man. Character's just really freaking dumb, and there's not much else to say about it. Akuma. People are gonna hate me for this, or they're gonna talk trash or whatever, but I don't care. Akuma, I think, is actually the fifth, the real fifth, the top 5. And this will take a little bit longer to explain. The thing about Akuma, his consistency is low. Like, how many Akumas do you actually see that main him and do really well? Now, right now, a Wise Honey hasn't done very well. A Teeth Butt hasn't done very well with this character. AK has not been playing this character. Book will pull out this character in very few matchups, but overall, he goes to Jin. He's tried Akuma, but he relies way more on Jin. So I can't fathom putting this character over all these other characters that have such huge tourney presence, huge tourney success, multiple representatives, and just these characters are making waves. Like, first of all, in order to really make Akuma work, you must be a main, right? You must be a main. So Super Akuma is legit the only Akuma still making waves like that with this character. There was a Pakistani Akuma that did pretty well at the Pakistan TWT, I believe, and I liked him. I think it was Kashi Snake. I like him a lot. I think he's pretty good. I like the way his Akuma functioned. But these other characters up here make Akuma's life, quite frankly, a living hell. Like, it really sucks playing against all these other characters, because all these other characters have very strong tools to keep him out. They have very strong tools to counterplay all versions of his jumping. Like, they all do more damage than he does, right? In order for Akuma to put down the type of damage these characters do, he needs at least a bar. At least. But you're otherwise getting walled by most, if not all, the rest of these characters. So I'm personally going to say Akuma is top 5. I think he's number 5. I think he's still being overplayed by a lot of people, and people are still not enacting true counterplay. I think a lot of people are starting to counterpick him, though. You know, using stuff like Jack, using your parries and stuff like that. I do think people are starting to counterpick him and consistently take him to the wallless stage. So it is what it is. If you don't think so, it's whatever. But I think he's here, especially because all of the Akuma mains still drop combos. And I don't think people realize just how unsafe Akuma is. This character is mad unsafe. Super mad unsafe, man. Super mad unsafe. And it's just ridiculous, man. Like, he takes so many risks, and I think it's fair that he can invalidate them every now and then with a bar. That's just me, right? Everything he has to access is through execution and meter. So, as Eris once said, he's cheap and hard, and that's okay. I think that's okay. At least you have to work for his cheapness. Meanwhile, you have the best character in the game. Not him. Not her. What the flip? Feng Wei. I think it is unquestionable that Feng Wei is the strongest character in Tekken currently. He is easy. He is good. He is easy. He does not shirk on offense. Phenomenal range to play neutral. Instant while standing 2 from crouch dash. His range has substantial range. He can stop you from stepping. He can do the stepping. Up forward 2 is ridiculous. Puts him a full range to the side. Great defensive options. He has a hop kick. He has a parry. He has back kempo. He has 1+2 to interrupt and take over as a combo. He has phenomenal whiff punishing. Great damage now. Great wall carry. There is not a single thing that Fang does bad. He has everything. He's good at everything. He legitimately has 0 flaws. Period. This character has 0 flaws. And he's quite frankly ridiculous because he is so simple to play. Your most difficult thing about playing Feng Wei is that he has a lot of moves. That's it. But everything does everything. Right? It's just a matter of what you choose to use to keep it fresh and unfamiliar to your opponent. So that's gonna be it, guys. This is my final tier list for Tekken 7. I believe that there will be no more patches. So if you stuck around through the whole thing, congrats. You listened to me rant about Tekken 7 and the characters and how broken some of these guys are. And if you didn't, oh well, you might have tuned into one of the tabs to see where your character falls. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And I would assume this will be the last tier list you'll ever see for Tekken 7. But if there's another patch, things might change. Let's go Tekken 8, hoping for Akuma. But I'm not going to have my hopes too high. But that's all I got. So I'll catch you guys later. Let me know in the comments if you agree with some of the placements. If you disagree, explain some reasonings. We can have a riveting conversation in the comments about it, and I can maybe have a follow-up video talking about and addressing all the comments if this video gets enough watches / likes / comments, right? So catch you guys later. Peace.
You win.
Don't forget to subscribe.